Did Audacity just make the hugest no-no in all of FOSS? Probably not. As soon as I heard about the kerfuffle going on over in the Audacity GitHub, I knew that I had to make a video about this. So last week, YouTuber Tantacruel actually made a video about Audacity. He announced that he was actually in charge of the Audacity project now, and it was under the purview of Muse Group. And I had heard that Muse Group had actually acquired Muse Score, which is a score writing music notation application that's free and open source. I did a little bit of research. I found out some things about Muse Group, which I hadn't heard of before Muse Score became part of their thing. Muse Group is a company that was formed out of ultimateguitar.com, which is, a website that I use quite frequently when I want to learn music or want to learn how to play a song on my guitar. But they have surprisingly poor SEO. Typing in Muse Group doesn't yield many results. I had to look up Muse Score, go to the wiki page, and then click on the link to the wiki page for Muse Group, and then go to their website, which is mu.se. Interesting. And setting aside the peculiarity of an open source project being acquired by a company and any of the benefits or issues that could arise from something like that, I thought that it was really important that we talk about the hubbub surrounding pull request 835. Over on GitHub. There's going to be a link in the description if you want to check it out. And make sure that you do not brigade this pull request. That is not something that my community does. And before we get into it, if you like this video, if you agree with what I get to say, hit that like button, maybe hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel out. All right, enough of the prologue. Let's talk about this. Now, if you're familiar with the open source community, or if you read any of the comments on the pull request, you'll know that there are many a user who balk at the idea of a FOSS project collecting any amount of data under any circumstances from any user's system. Indeed, of all the pull requests on Audacity's GitHub, this has probably sparked the most fiery debate. And, you get the hunch that something has gone wrong when people talking about software development start quoting scripture at each other. And I say that as a man of faith, and I don't mean to be flippant at all. Now, we know that the free and open source community really does value their privacy probably more than any other group, and that's probably to be expected, right? It's easy to understand why. I mean, we know that it's relatively trivial to correlate disparate and seemingly meaningless points of data and correlate them down into, someone's GPS location. But whatever, normies don't understand that. And it's understandable too that, as the open source community, we have not only seen the patterns and warning signs of surveillance, but also we've seen our fair share of abuse from proprietary software companies. So when a FOSS project comes along and suggests hey, you know what might be useful? If we have automatic crash reporting or maybe some basic usage stats, the paranoia starts to set in. But the fact of the matter is, this is free software we're talking about. Let's not confuse our friends from our enemies here. People are really good at recognizing patterns. People are so good, in fact, that we recognize patterns where there aren't any. That's what's called pareidolia, right? Pareidolia is when you see Bill Gates' face in a piece of toast. Look, there's a really good chance that there is nefarious stuff going on with proprietary software and its all-consuming telemetry. But there are legitimate reasons that FOSS developers might want to have this kind of data on hand. After the pull request was issued and the backlash started rolling in, the pull request's comment was actually updated, and it said, "Why have telemetry at all? Essentially, it's to help us identify product issues early. One, Audacity is widely used across several platforms, but we have no information on the application's stability. Two, it is difficult for us to estimate the size of the user base accurately. Three, we need a way to make informed decisions about which OS version to support. For example, can we raise the minimum version of macOS to 10.10 to update WX widgets to the latest version? And 4, we have a known issue with the file format introduced in Audacity 3.0. We found it with the great help of the community members on our forum. However, there is no way for us to estimate the impact of these issues on users. Is it just a random case? Do we need to rush the work on the recovery tool or help the users one by one? Or do we need to rethink the file format to make it safer and more easily recoverable? In short, open source projects collecting this kind of data really does have its legitimate purpose, and that purpose is informed decision making. As a group of folks who pay a ton of lip service to both data and to objectivity, we should really be the ones who understand this the best. Now, several times in the pull request, the author stressed that the telemetry is entirely opt-in and disabled by default. And that's true, and they even shared a screenshot of what the opt-in screen looks like. However, some people took exception. Several people condemned this opt-in screen, saying that it implemented dark patterns to trick people into unwittingly consenting to telemetry collection. However, I personally think this is one of the best consent screens that I have ever seen. And if this is the final screen that ends up in the final version of Audacity, I think that this screen proves their commitment to doing this ethically. First, let's look at what it actually says, right? We would like to collect anonymous usage data to help prioritize improvements and make Audacity better in the future. This includes session start and end time, errors for debugging, file formats for import and export, OS and Audacity versions, and use of effects, generators, and analysis tools so we can provide future improvements. We do not collect any personal data or sensitive information such as location or file names or any content of your audio, with a link to the privacy policy. You can change this at any time in Preferences, Analytics. First, the screen tells you what data is being collected, what data is not being collected. It links you to the privacy policy, and then it tells you how you can change your opt-in status. So this dialog box explains the implication of clicking the Send Anonymous Data button. In other words, it provides a basis for informed consent. Let's imagine what this would look like in pretty much any other product. Send anonymous usage statistics and crash reports to Audacity, privacy policy. And you don't know what clicking the I agree button actually is opting you into. You can't make an informed decision based on a little dialog box like that, but you can from the one that Audacity presents. Now, the dark pattern being referenced here is the fact that normies are just going to click on the big blue button and skip the dialog box altogether without reading the text being presented to them. And maybe that's the case, but I think that this is actually a better choice in terms of design and user experience than having a single button with a checkbox. Psychologically speaking, if you present a user with two buttons they have to choose between which one they're going to click, they're more likely to read the text in the box and make a decision on which button to click. Contrast that with having an unpopulated checkbox and a single button to continue forward. I feel like you would basically get no one opting in at that point. People would just click through and continue. So providing users an actual choice to make and giving them the data they need to make an informed decision, I think this is one of the best designed screens out there, honestly. Furthermore, as this is an open source project, we have access to every bit of the telemetry code. We can rigorously scrutinize this. There's no reason for the Audacity team to lie about what data is being collected here, because we can go in and all independently verify what is actually being collected, if opting out truly prevents this data from being submitted, and where these reports are being sent. But that does raise the final concern that I have. See, when I first heard about this, I do have to admit that seeing Google Analytics and Yandex mentioned here had me a bit upset. But the fact of the matter is, Google Analytics is one of the most robust analytics tools, especially for app developers. And the tools are provided free of charge. Granted, it does have a cost in terms of privacy, especially analytics on the web, but even I have had to integrate Google Analytics into websites that I have built. Why? Well, because if you're writing software without having some sort of analytics tool, you're basically blind. Having good, reliable data reporting is incredibly important if you want to make good decisions for your product. And as I mentioned, Google Analytics is free of charge, and it has mature and robust features. There are other analytics tools out there. Plausible comes to mind. But you do have to pay for those out of pocket, and most of the time, pay for alternatives just aren't in your client's budget, or they're not comfortable with a different platform that they've been familiar with for years. And that's probably what's going on with Muse Group. Muse Group runs ultimateguitar.com since 1998. So Google Analytics is probably a tool that they have been using for time immemorial. And there is something to be said about sticking with tools that you know. Does it make it right though? I don't know. Probably not. Are there better alternatives? Yeah, there definitely are. And if we as a community could collectively, as mature adults, move past our paranoid pareidolia over analytics tracking, our Mr. Mackey-esque simplistic aversion to any kind of telemetry in any circumstance, we might be able to convince them to use a more ethical or privacy respecting alternative than something like Google or Yandex. Look, I'm not sure if we can trust Muse Group. I don't think they've been around long enough to have a track record that we can go back and scrutinize. But I don't think that we have cause to suspect they would do something nefarious with the data that they collect. Similarly, I am confident that Audacity is not going to collect more data than they actually need. Since, hey, we have access to the telemetry code. We can see what's actually being collected and sent. If I'm wrong, then you know what? I'm wrong. But I do believe that there are ethical ways that free and open source software developers can collect anonymous usage statistics, I can't say that, and telemetry, crash reports, and whatever. And if the infrastructure was in place to make that simple and privacy respecting and easy, then we might just be able to defeat proprietary software completely. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that there are legitimate reasons for open source projects to collect telemetry, or are you just vehemently opposed? Let me know down in the comments. I want to say thanks to all the people who have made this show possible, my YouTube members and my patrons. I want to say thank you to my latest top tier Singularity member, Delicious Kashmiri. Dude, an annual pledge at the Singularity tier is just incredible. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate your support. If you want to help support the show, you can check out Patreon. You can click the join button down below. But no matter what you do, it's all appreciated. And thank you. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now, and have a blessed day.